Welcome to Let's Get Writing. I'm your host, Catherine Taylor, and this is the show where we take you behind the scenes to meet today a writer who creates the Christmas books you love to read and those favorite Christmas movies that we are binging on right now, right up until the holiday season. And also, of course, we share tips and trade secrets. So if you've ever wanted to write a book or you're an avid reader, you are in the right place. Now, my guest today is a three-time Emmy award-winning writer, screenwriter, producer, best-selling author, journalist, national TV host, and she writes romantic comedies, and dramas for film, TV, and audio. And she has written features for Netflix, Hallmark, and Lifetime. And I'm sure we all love and are familiar with those shows, and including the Netflix original sensation, A Christmas Prince. So all that being said, let's welcome Karen Schaler to Let's Get Writing, and she'll be right here to join us.
Oh, thank you, Catherine.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. That was great because my intro, that's a lot. I didn't realize it till I heard you say it. I've been busy.
You know, ever since I met you last year and I had reached out to you, I thought, here's someone who writes about Christmas and the Netflix films, and I want to meet her. I want to find out how all this happens. And here you are back again with so much more going on. And just, you amaze me. I think you don't sleep.
I always say in the North Pole, the little elves, I'd love to have little elves. I need them if someone wants to apply, but, at the end of the day, we were talking about how do you make it all happen? And I have tips and tricks that we're going to share here of how to do that, because we all have busy lives. But when you're a creative, you find the time, because you can't not write, right? And the authors are, when you're listening or whatever you're writing, or movies or books, it's like we've been blessed with this gift and we have to find a way. But managing time and literally scheduling time for it, we'll talk about that. I'm excited. And it's the holiday season, it starts earlier. There's even in the local stores, there's even Christmas before Halloween. I know that really upsets some Halloween and Thanksgiving people, but my new book we'll talk about is called Every Day is Christmas. There's a reason for that. If we just celebrated Christmas every day, we would probably be a much kinder culture. So I'm ready. I'm wearing my sparkles. I'm ready.
You are ready. And that's what I love about you. When I look and I see the red, you make me feel in the mood for the season already. And look at all the books behind you, all these wonderful Christmas books. And I'm just going to show on the screen right now, Every Day is Christmas. This one's coming out now, isn't it?
It is. Thank you. And it's funny, we'll talk about the journey, because I started writing movies and why I started writing books. This one is really special to me because this was first a Lifetime Christmas movie starring Toni Braxton. And, we can talk about that, the process, when you talk about how do you sell a book or how do you sell a movie for that, and, how do you do it? So this one is because I'm a WGA writer. I'm also a member of WGC. So I'm a member of the American Writers Guild. I'm a member of the Canadian Writers Guild. That's in the screenwriting world. And many people know that we were on strike for in America for almost 5 months. So during that time, the strike started May 1st, and that meant we could not sell our scripts or pitch. But I'm like, okay, I usually write a holiday novel. I'm going to write Fast and Furious. So what am I going to write? I'm going to write, because I was so sad about not doing movies, I'm going to turn my movie into a novel. So this is something we'll talk about if people are interested, or a lot of people have books they want to be made, whether you want to write them or whether you want to find a partner with a screenwriter. So maybe you're a novelist and you're like, I don't really want to go down the rabbit hole of being a screenwriter. We can help you with that here today, of either way, and then take you behind the scenes, because I have a really fun story to tell. I don't know if you want me to tell it yet, but about how I got the Lifetime movie. Because
I think you should tell it now. We're talking about it.
Yeah, I never get to tell this story, and now because the book's coming out, I get to tell the story. So
I put you down instead of the book.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, the book is a lot prettier than me, so I'd rather have the book. So I'm just, because if anyone's watching and you think I'd love to be a screenwriter, I'd love to be a novelist, but you're like, especially a screenwriter, because that's a harder world to break into. I am here to tell you that you can do it. And I think that's why Catherine likes me on, because I don't come from like this big money family, agents, managers. I did it on my own. I did not have a manager and agent. I do not know anyone in Hollywood. I didn't have, when I first started out, I didn't have a publisher or any agent or anything like that. So I'm a little someone that's passionate. So if you're watching, you can do it. So I anything I share is not bragging. I think you guys know that. It's to show I did this so you can do this. And I think that's the most important. So, okay, getting to the story really quick. So the very first movie I wrote, I was doing a travel show. I still have it. It's called Travel Therapy Trips. And it's on in America, all over the place. And actually it's on internationally as well. And so that's one of my websites. And it's the only one I didn't give Catherine. So we won't put it on the screen, but I just threw that out there. She didn't
Instagram,
even know. Wait, what is that? What is that one?
Well, I see you on Instagram, and you came to Newfoundland with that show.
Yes, and it's
back to the story.
Yes, so I couldn't travel. I had a medical thing, and I couldn't travel for a couple weeks, and it was around the holidays, and to cheer myself up, love watching those holiday movies, like all of us do. And I thought I've always wanted to write one. And at that time, Hallmark, was leading, doing everything. And so I thought, I'm going to do this. So I wrote a Hallmark movie. And I pitched it. And next thing I know, I did not pitch it to Hallmark. It's a whole story. We'll do that differently, when we talk about movies. But I researched of who made the movies I liked. I did all of this. And then and I remember they said it was not a Christmas movie, though. And they said, well, do you have anything Christmas and royal? And of course, any good writer trying to get a deal goes, yes. Of course, I had nothing. And so I said, great, let's write it the holidays. Let's touch base after the holidays. So I hurried and ran and did a Christmas script. And it was based loosely of when I went to the Isle of Anglesey in Wales, where Prince William and Catherine were living when Prince William was in the Royal Air Force. So I did, and it was also inspired by Prince Harry. And so I won't say too much more. Hopefully you've seen A Christmas Prince on Netflix. So you're like, wait, slow down. You're talking about Hallmark and it ends up on Netflix. That's how my brain felt to you guys, 100%. So I'm pitching it. I think it's going to Hallmark. At that time, Netflix was not doing original Christmas movies, and it's 2017. And then next thing I know, it lands on Netflix as their first original Christmas. So it got a lot of attention. There was a very young audience that had never watched the Hallmark type of romantic comedy, that sweet, wholesome content, going, what in the world is this movie? But I like it. And then there was the older audience that was, more traditional, coming to Netflix going, oh, wow, they have this kind of content too. Mm-hmm. So it really blew up in a beautiful way in finding people internationally all over the world. It had 2 more movies. And then I immediately that next year, I had pitched this other story. We'll talk about that later, called Christmas Camp. And I thought this one will go to Netflix because I was just on Netflix. So this is perfect. Mm-hmm. That one went to Hallmark. See, I'm just going to say whatever one, and then it'll go the next one. But while that's happening, so meanwhile, I have this movie that's coming out, and it was a script that was written. I get a call. I had sent a script in to Lifetime, and so they wanted to meet with me. So excited. So it's in New York City. The A&E building's gorgeous. So I'm going in to meet with them because they've read my script. So I'm, thinking they must want to buy it. So excited. And it was just like one of those movies where you go in and it's these big, huge, all glass, it's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And those big, long legal tables and, 3 or 4 of the executives. And I'm like, this is really cool. And we sit down, and I remember, they were talking, and just like that, you always have that small talk. Obviously, I have no problem with that. So we were like chatting, and then I'm waiting to, have to answer questions about my story they've read. And they start telling us, they said, this Christmas is going to be bigger than ever. Our showcase movie is starring Toni Braxton. And I'm like, whoa. They said, yep, multi-Grammy winner, Toni Braxton. She's going to be our spotlight. That's kind of when you're top, your big mm-hmm. movie. And I said, that sounds amazing. And they start telling me, they said, there's only, I go, well, that's great. What kind of movie is it? She goes, well, she just told us she wants to be the Scrooge. I'm like, oh, A Christmas Carol. That's going to be big. They said, yeah, that's it. And they said, yeah. And, maybe she meets a guy and then it doesn't work. So she gets rid of him and goes through her transformation, whatever way that is. And then, in the end, she works it all out. I'm like, that sounds great. And so they're like, what do you think? And long story short, guys, they were just asking me different questions. And I'm like, okay. And all I'm thinking is, and if anyone's of Lifetime's watching, they would be laughing at me for this, but I like to be vulnerable. This is about tips, and this is behind the scenes. This is as behind the scenes you get. All I'm thinking, you guys, I'm listening to them. When are you going to get to my movie? This sounds fabulous, but when can we talk about the movie you want to buy? Like in my mind, like you're buying my movie.
Of course.
It's like 20 minutes for them to go. So what do you think? about this Toni movie. That was one line. She wants to be the Scrooge. I'm like, well, it's Toni. It's going to be amazing. It's Lifetime. It's going to be fantastic. And I said, so? And I'm like, they go, do you want to pitch? And I'm like, for? And they're like, the Toni Braxton movie. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, what's a pitch? Like, what do they mean? What are we talking about? I was just so caught off guard. So long story short, I'll fast forward now. They brought me in because they liked my spec script, liked my writing. They weren't going to make that one right now. But I didn't know this at the time. They wanted me to pitch. They were interviewing writers to pitch to write Toni's movie. But I didn't know that I didn't have any of that.
So good, actually.
Yeah, talk about, you always have to be on your feet, ready to shift.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you guys, if you're pitching your book to a publisher or an agent and they go, no, we just had one. Like you practice for 2 weeks for your interview. You better have 2 more ideas ready to go. So that's so when they said that, they go, what do you want to pitch? I go, okay, great. What does that mean? And they said a couple pages, an idea, like outline an idea, let us know. So I did say, because it's me, I'm like, well, what about my other movie? And they're like, oh, we love that. That's why you're here. And yeah, we'll talk about that too. But this is our focus. This is our spotlight. I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, they did tell me, I love the executive. He's so awesome. I love, because they were honest. It's such a great experience, you guys working with Lifetime. Because he said, we want to really be fully transparent. It's Toni Braxton. She has huge screenwriters that are going for this. And I'm in New York, and they're like screenwriters in LA. Big deal, feature credits, big credits, because right now I'd had 2 Christmas credits, and my Christmas second one hadn't come out yet on Hallmark, just my Netflix one. So they were just kind of warning me, I think, which was nice. So I went home, and like the next day, and no, I think later that night I sent it in, and they were like, what's this? I'm like, the pitch. And they're like, because I guess people take a few weeks.
Already.
I had an idea, and so I wrote it. And then like 3 days later, they call me in and they want to meet me. And when I come in, they go, what is this? I said, what? And they said, we gave you one cue, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because it'd be a spoiler. We gave you one thing. And I'm, besides Toni Braxton Scrooge, I'm like, yeah. And they go, and you didn't do it. I'm like, yeah, I don't really see her doing that. So no, I didn't. I just couldn't, And long and short, and she goes, and of all of the people to pitch, all of them, she picked you. Yay. Oh, really? So another thing is, when someone gives you a note, we talk a lot about this. When they give you a note, you listen. And a lot of times they might say, make this character jump on a pink pony and ride into the horizon. You don't necessarily have to literally jump on a pink pony, but it means there's something wrong. They want more action. They want more journey, but you don't have to take actual note. It took me so long, Catherine, to learn that. Like I'm a people pleaser. Whatever you want, I'll do it. I want you to buy my movie. Yeah. I'll do it. So the reason that's so important to me, it's the only movie of the 4 movies I've done that I've got to go on set, and it was shot in Canada. Yay, always, Hollywood North up in Vancouver. And so I got to bring my mom on set, and it's so chaotic. Toni was amazing. And I wrote from the very beginning with the Toni, the executive producer, the Lifetime executives. And that way we all had input, which is harder than writing by yourself. Mm-hmm. And then I got to go on set and learn so much. So now that came out 2018. It was a beloved hit because of Toni. Of course it would be. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying Toni made it amazing. And if anyone's interested, I don't get a cutback from this because I was not union yet. I was WGC Canada, but you don't get residuals on that. Darn it, got to work on that, Canada. But what we had was, it's on Amazon Prime right now, and it's like $2.99 or something to watch. And I say that if you're an aspiring screenwriter or a novelist. So what I did this year, we go on strike, and I decided to write the book. Mm-hmm. So what I tell people, I was just speaking to a group of college kids. They want to know how much changes from a book, and when you adapt, what do you have to change? What do you have to make sure you have? I said the best thing to do, and it's what I did, watch Bridgerton, the season pilot on TV, read the Bridgerton pilot, read the Bridgerton book and read the Bridgerton screenplay, and see how the same story is translated. So what you can do is you can watch the Toni Braxton movie, and if you're studying, this is a good way. You can read the book, and it'll show you either book to screen or screen to book. You're going to see the tips you need. That's how I learn, you guys. I can't follow the rules of counting scenes and all of that. I taught myself. I have 4 movies by watching. But that story, I want you to know, I don't believe, ever told anybody. Because it's not confidential. It's just, I saved it for you, Catherine.
Thank you for sharing it.
Oh, one more thing that's fun. And this is fast too, but this is really fun because it's applicable to what's going on here. So you'll see on the cover this beautiful crystal heart. So covers are probably my most important thing because I'm visual and I care so much. So when we decided to do this, when I say we, like there's my imaginary elves that I have. When I decided to do this, I said, okay, what's on the cover that's going to be special? Because this is one of the few. All my other ones are in a Christmas town, kind of those magical places that you see all the time on these movies. This one was shot, I mean, the setting was Atlanta, and she's Scrooge. So we're not talking magical Christmas here. So,
No.
oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You know, how am I going to get my magical Christmas scenes here to fit with what my readers love? And so I said, wait a minute. In the scene, there's a crystal heart ornament. I'm not going to say anything more, but it's really key. And so we decided, we literally took a screenshot from the movie on Amazon so we could duplicate it and make it like that. And then I found a way to recreate it so it'd be just like the movie scene. And I do these giveaways. So when you follow me on social and all of that, that's what I'm doing to help launch the book. So you can have this. But what's fun is the behind the scenes story is I'm on the set. And this young man is talking about different things that I had put in my screenplay. One of them was LED angels. And he's like, I don't know where we're supposed to get LED angels and whoever wrote LED angels. And I'm sitting there and it's looking around and he goes, oh no, you're the right. You wrote LED angels. I'm like, I did. You can get them on Amazon, you know? And the same happened with the crystal heart. They had a really hard time because they found stuff that was cheap and didn't look right. And so to find something that was really special. So what I learned is be careful as a writer with specifically writing screenplays. If it's that important, what I've done is I've found it first, or you find someone that can make it. A lot of times I believe our crystal heart ornament to be that special. But if you're going to ask for something big, make sure when somebody, you know, might push back that you go, oh no, here it is, guys. Here's where you can go, you know, be a good partner in the process. So I jumped in with a lot of information, but I just want to, you to know, and hopefully you got 7 ideas about don't be afraid, learn how to pitch, you know, all of the different tips that you can do, because I learn along the way and it makes it so fun. And really, it cheered me up this year to do this because the writing strike was and still continues to be rough. I mean, I'm not on strike, but I'm one of many that lost their health insurance and, you know, struggling with things like that. It's going to be a long time to recover, but we all love it. And thank you to everyone watching that supported us, whether, you know, whatever country you're in, wherever you are. I'm even tweeting at X. I don't know. Do we still say tweeting, although it's now known as X? But whatever everyone did and sharing on social, it meant the world to all of us. So, and actors are next. And hopefully by the time you watch this, the actors will be off too. So.
Yeah, and that was a very difficult time. I have a number of friends who work in the industry, and the issues were big. It's not something I want to dwell on in this interview, but the AI is, you know, where is that going to go? Which I think was one of the biggest issues.
Absolutely.
Do you feel a bit resolved with how it ended? Do you feel pretty good about it?
Well, first of all, the overall, and I know, like you said, we could do a whole one on
We
this.
could, yeah.
People to know, especially emerging writers, and if you're thinking you're just an author, if you're going to sell your book rights, you're also involved in this. You know, you want to know this information. That's also a way an author can get into the Writers Guild. You know, if you sell your book, you're like, how do you get in? Short version, you need to be in the union. Hollywood's rough. It's a wild, wild west. And if you're not in the union, I can't tell you how many times you sign a contract, everything's perfect, and you've got good legal, and then the other side says, so we're not going to abide by it. And you're like, no, I have a contract. And they said, sue us because they're the big people and you're a little fish. I've heard that story like literally once a week for the first 2 years I was in television. And it's not that they're I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just saying it's a tough industry. It's fast moving. You got to have a good entertainment attorney. It's my number one tip. But the union, the difference is you're now paying to fight somebody that maybe is not doing good. And guess why I'm telling you this? It always happens at it also happens at the top, but at the top, people are usually in the union. But we see it, so it's new writers that aren't in the union that are lower paying projects. That's where the problems happen, the shenanigans happen. Ideally, once you get up, first of all, you're in the union, and guess what? They protect you. They have their lawyers, and they go after it, and people know you're in the union, so they don't mess with you as much. It's not perfect, but, you know, so it's really important that, you know, people know that. So in the Writers Guild, what we were fighting for, this easiest way to like summarize it, you know, we do a contract every 3 years, and we weren't able able to negotiate during COVID. Our negotiating for 3 years was up in 2020. So everyone kind of agreed, like, this is not a time to be making changes. However, streaming had come in. We had the Apples and the Amazons and the Netflix, and our contracts it covered it, but it didn't fully. We didn't have anything about AI because the world had changed. So we weren't looking at, let's pay us more. No, this was life-altering contractual things. We had no choice but to strike. We didn't want to strike. But what AI, they literally, my friends, an extra, I still call them extras, but whether you call them day players, but the people that come in, and get paid $200, $300 a day, and she'll be on like some big, network show, and she's sitting in an audience. Well, literally, she would go in as a SAG, as an actor, and somebody would want you to sign, and you're signing a release, and you're like, I'm so excited to work. Yeah, sure, here. Well, what you don't look at is the fine print that says we can use your image for the rest of the life in any movie, in any way we want. Yeah. So they don't have to hire her for the next 5 days. They just digitally put her in the stand, or they put her in a porn movie. I'm not kidding. They could put her anywhere. It's terrifying. As a writer, all of a sudden the studio gives you something written by AI. The way you get credit and the way you get paid residuals is your ownership of writing. If that means that was another owner, it's a way a studio could get around saying it's not an original. Like I have a Netflix original. I was not in the union, so I don't get residuals for that. But if AI had came up with the idea, there was so many things. So overall, what we got was huge as a screenwriter. So there's a lot for TV writers, like we said differently. But as a screenwriter, we sometimes don't have as big of attention because our membership is majority of them are TV writers. So, that makes sense. We have to protect the majority. But as a screenwriter, we got the 2-step deal, which is huge. And it was we've been trying for 20 years. And it's to try to get away from free work. A lot of people are asked just do another draft or another draft or another draft. Right. So we have a guaranteed second step that's activated. We could go into that. But the end of the day, what I want everyone watching, I don't care if you're 12 years old or if you're 82 years old, the future of writing depended on it. And what we have in there for guardrails for AI now is a start for our conversation. We're going to be talking again in 2.5 years. We've already spent 5 months of this year. And it's a start, and it's going to protect us. And even studios are nervous because you have to sign, and Catherine, as an author, when you sell it, you have to sign an authorship that it's your original material. Yes. So you don't get sued. So if somebody like me used AI and I sell it to the studio, I have to sign that it's mine. It's not mine. Who knows where AI got it? Maybe it took that story,
They learned by reading.
and they're training on our scripts.
Yes, they are.
You can go into AI. I did it just for fun. You could literally say, acting like a best-selling author, write in the voice of Stephen King, a horror movie that has this, write me 125 words, or write me 5 pages. And it's all about the prompts. You give that information and it just grabs everything of Stephen King in seconds, way faster than Google, all his movies, any books, adaptations. And it's freaky, you guys. I've done it on my own, right in the voice of Karen Schaler.
Well, there are some authors right now who are suing them, but because their work was used to teach AI how to. Yeah, so we can't go down this wormhole anymore.
No, I can't. But it's impressive. I would feel remiss on anything we talk about. At least to have it. So thank you, because you're here to teach, and
I hope to. I love that. But I want to show one of your other projects that came out of this wonderful period of not being too busy, but busy in other ways. The Color Your Christmas Dreams.
Well, I am so this is insane. I'm on TikTok, you guys. I'm on at Karen Schaler, and I jumped on to literally answer your questions, like what I'm doing with Catherine here. I think that's one of the ways she also found me on social media during the strike. I'm like, I can give back. Ask me questions. I don't know everything. If I don't, I say I don't know. I'll try to refer you, but I'm going to give you my tips and tricks. So one of the things I decided, AI. We're talking about the evils of AI, but I don't believe that. When email first came out, people thought that was evil and it would never work. AI is here, and we need to be careful, but it's not going anywhere. So I wanted to learn it. I want to learn it. I want to know what's going on. And so at the end of the day, I asked it like, I'm an unemployed writer. So I'm like, how do I make money? I saw these on TikTok, people asking, I have $100. How do I make this much money in this much time? And here are my skills. Top of the list was an adult Christmas coloring book. And I'm like, what? And so then I started playing with AI for the cover, because I can't afford my cover artist, who's amazing, Kristen, who does this. She gets a wage as she should. I can't afford that. I'm unemployed. So I'm like, how can I take different images, not anybody else's? So, oh my gosh, you guys, when I first got it, it's on the screen. Those little people, some of them had 3 legs. Some of them, oh my gosh, I can't even, so AI is a hot mess. So what you might get is, because it's training, you might get something. And then it took me days and days of photoshopping and using my own skills and putting something, I think I'll put that star here. But this is a cover that I did myself with assistance of AI. And what I did on the inside, I'm going to show you on the screen. So I actually did it for the strike, because a lot of the people on strike, well, everybody and in the industry above and below the line, were very stressed. And it came up that this was a great stress reliever. Also a tip, AI is like, and this could be, I'm like, oh, AI, that's creepy. You're creepy that that, we're all stressed. So what we did is I decided to, because I'm a writer, of course, we have these magical scenes, and some of them are a little more difficult. You get some coloring books and they're all the same, but I'm like, I want different variety. So these are like medium, I'd say. Let's see if I can just quickly find a hard one. Okay, here's one that's a little more detail, so if you're like, I want an easy one, but here's my favorite part. I put Christmas quotes on the other side. So there's 55 pictures and 55 quotes. And like, I'm looking, this one's from Ben Franklin. So let's read this one. And they kind of match the pictures. It says, a good conscience is a continual Christmas. That Ben Franklin, that goes like every day is Christmas. And so it's so funny. Oh, I love this one. It's Kevin Allen Milne, and it says Christmas. Here's the shot. And I have this gazebo similar in one of my stories, of course. It says Christmas magic is silent. You don't hear it, you feel it, you know it, you believe it. And so I just thought that this would be a fun project. So both of them are up on sale everywhere, from the Kobo, the Amazons, the Barnes and Noble, all of Target, Walmart, all those places. And I made this one super affordable because, first of all, we have to pay for the print and all of that. So it's kind of we call it like a wash. I didn't listen to AI on pricing, but I wanted to make it affordable because people are on strike. So it's like $8.99. So I said less than a Starbucks coffee in the US. So I'm like, all right.
I just added to the screen here because we actually are almost out of time. When you get going, there's so much.
Oh my goodness, I know.
Okay, your Amazon shop. What I admire about you is you don't give up. If there's a project, you go at it on all levels. You find every way that it can, and that's one of the most valuable things I've learned from you. But there's your shop. And final words. Anything?
Yes. Well, actually, and like I said, I know this went fast today, but I hope it showed you kind of who I am as a person, so you can feel comfortable to reach out to me, on TikTok or however you want to follow on social. Please go on my website because I have free downloads for you. Through November, I'm doing my autographed signed bookmark and book plate, so you can, get one of the new books, and then I send this to you. I have some people send me a list of 10 people. It's their Christmas gift. But one thing I want to tell you when you talk about perseverance, one of the books back here is called Christmas Camp. My Hallmark movie was Christmas Camp. Then I turned it into a book, Christmas Camp Wedding. Then I turned it into merchandise. So I have Christmas Camp. Then I decided there needed to be a real life Christmas camp. So I am now hosting real life Christmas camps at resorts and destinations worldwide, where you come and you feel like you're in a Christmas movie. And it has all the different Christmas activities. And each book is a new story. So every year there's that theme of either the movie or the book or both, depending on what I'm doing. And the first one we did was at the Phoenician Resort pre-COVID. It sold out 400 room nights in less than a half hour because it's that camaraderie and love, and you literally feel like you're in a movie. And working on one now that's 12 nights. So it's really the 12 days of Karen Schaler's Christmas Camp. So follow on social media to find out more about that. I'm always here for you. And Catherine, thank you for what you do so much. All these tips.
Pleasure. And I think I'd like to take you one of those Christmas camps. I think
you need to come.
Really?
The Today Show came and they did an interview prior. And then when they heard about it, they're like, we're coming. And they came back and they did this beautiful 7-minute segment. So if you really want to feel on my website, you'll see it. Okay. And we talk about, yes, there's amazing things and stargazing and s'mores and Christmas cookies and cocktail mixology. And it's kind of about relaxing and resetting before the holiday. And I forgot the biggest part. It's for grownups. The kids have their own amazing things. This is for grownups, and you can stay 1 night, 3 nights, 5 nights, and I'm literally planning them as we go. Catherine knows when we were scheduling this interview, I'm like, wait, in between, these things. But I wanted to, when you watch those movies or you immerse yourself as a novelist or as a reader, you want to sometimes go to those places, right? And so this was, I don't know, call me crazy, but I'm like, this needs to be real. And in the story, it talks about the only way to make it viable, a Christmas camp, if it's a little B&B, is to franchise. So I'm like, I'm just going to take my own advice that I made up in a story.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope we've brought a little Christmas to you today, and certainly many, many ideas. Please continue to join me on Let's Get Writing, and I will continue to bring you wonderful authors and ideas throughout the year. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks for being here. Bye, Karen.